Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Social Zee Franchise Happy Hour. I'm the host, as usual, Calvin Smith, coming from Destin, Florida today at my shop at my two franchises. I'm excited to have a really cool guest on with us today, a young entrepreneur coming from the East Coast, I guess, Austin Evans. Austin, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Calvin. Yeah, it's good to be on here and to talk with another fellow entrepreneur, franchisor, and kind of get down to some business talk.
Absolutely. And Austin, you're out in Greenville, North Carolina, is that right?
I am, yep, home of the Pirates, about an hour and a half away from the beach, maybe 2 hours away from the Outer Banks. So
You mentioned the Pirates, but did I see that you have a Duke sweater on? Is that right?
So yeah, I am. I'm also a Duke fan. ECU comes first. I'll say that because all my family has gone there. But yeah, I'm also a Duke fan as well for Duke basketball and stuff.
Sure.
If you're an ECU fan, you can't cheer for Carolina. So that's kind of my secondary team there.
Sure. I actually got a chance to go over and watch the Pelicans play this weekend, and Zion didn't play. Obviously, a big Duke guy, but I got to see him
awesome.
on the bench. Yeah, I did get to see him play at Florida State when they came down to Florida State when he was at Duke, which that game went into overtime. It was a really, really exciting atmosphere, and so and then actually R.J. Barrett was playing on Sunday for the Knicks, and so I got to see him, another Duke guy. Yeah. So,
There you go.
I love Duke basketball. They're fun to watch for sure.
It's a great atmosphere. That's definitely been the best arena I've been to so far. Is going into Duke and see the Cameron Crazies and just it's an unreal environment.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you're out in Greenville, Austin, and tell us a little bit about your business and what you're doing, and kind of what you guys do as a franchise system.
Okay. So I'm in real estate. The company is called Little Pink Houses of America. That's the parent company. They're based out of Jacksonville, Florida. That's where the corporate headquarters is. So my branch, Little Pink Houses of Eastern Carolina. So I cover basically anything Raleigh and east of it. North Carolina, so I cover roughly about a third of the state, and we're a real estate a national real estate investment company. So we do a couple different things, but our primary foundation to the business is we have what's called our executive lease purchase program, a special lease to own program where we will work with buyers that maybe they're self-employed. Maybe they've gone through a divorce, bankruptcy, just a weird circumstance in life, identity theft, and we filter through those buyers when we have a property, and we will find the one that's the best fit. They have some money to put down. They have income that's sufficient enough for the property, and we will basically build them a blueprint to follow that will help guarantee their financing. And we have a mortgage readiness company that does the credit rebuilding and all that. And we have our mortgage lending partners that will write the loan for them as long as they follow the plan. It's usually a 6, 12, or 18-month window of time that they're operating in. So it's pretty cool. Our whole slogan is "We create homeowners." So we take that seriously. It's a really cool process. And on the seller side, it allows them to make some extra money. That maybe they don't want to pay a commission. They don't want to deal with the showings, staging, all the hassle. Maybe they don't need all the money right now, right? It's a second property. They have some flexibility, and this allows them to save money and make a little extra money because we don't charge our sellers commission. We sell as is. It's really, at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned the area you cover, Austin. I imagine, right now, and just knowing a little bit about that part of the country and the state, it's kind of a booming area for real estate, and home prices are going up. And I mean, I would imagine business has been pretty good to you over the last couple of periods.
Business has been good. It's certainly for our particular business model. It has been a little bit more challenging just from the sense of working with sellers. Sometimes we have to go towards maybe like buying the property and cutting the seller out, and then we sell the property to the buyer through our program. But yeah, it's been interesting. We work with some sellers and we just help them sell it traditionally as well. Maybe some people just have that like ill feeling towards realtors, which I feel I can speak on that fairly, because my dad, who's at the office that me and him operate out of, he owns his own small brokerage. So he's a commercial residential realtor. He's also an appraiser and property manager. So he's been doing that for like 45 years. So he's been doing it a long time. So,
sure. So I was going to ask you that. So did you learn the business from him, and kind of that's what got you into the space? Is that it?
So you think that, right? Because that kind of like because that symmetry, you're like, oh, well, yeah, he's in real estate, so I'm in real estate. So ironically, initially I was like, no shot, not going to be in real estate. I don't want to be in it. I was like, because everyone when I was a kid was like, oh, you want to be in real estate, be like your dad. I'm like, nope, not going to happen. And life is weird, as I'm sure we all know. Obviously, we've been living in a weird time. So basically, it's definitely helped me in the business. I won't say that. Like the value he brings, his advice, I always seek his counsel, and no doubt it helps me. But the whole business and what I do right now, no, it wasn't because of him. It really just kind of the opportunity to join the company I'm in kind of just fell on my lap when I was doing a bunch of different things in my life. I was in college in Boston for a little bit. I was a marketing major, and I came back home. I was taking classes at a local community college here, and I decided, I was like, it's just not really for me. I was like, I just don't see myself like sitting in a cubicle, working the corporate lifestyle. I was like, I think I'll go crazy. And obviously, my mom, not a fan of hearing that. Most of the people in my family were like, oh, you're crazy, Austin. What are you doing? And I was like, hey, I'm going to take a different path. And, it's been an interesting journey, but, hard work pays off.
Sure. And so, you went to college for a little while and realized, like a lot of people, it just doesn't make sense for you, which more and more, I think for a lot of people, it doesn't make sense, especially for someone who's going to be an entrepreneur and kind of build their own ship, right? It's not, you go to college to learn how to work in a business, not necessarily how to build one, right? And what led you said it kind of fell in your lap. What was it that happened or transpired where you said, hey, this is what I want to do?
Well, I've done a whole, my mom probably thought I was like on crack or something. I was just doing all kinds of different jobs, and people would ask me like, oh, what is Austin up to? Like, oh, he's doing this, doing that. I was, political knocking. I was a brand ambassador, ran a landscaping business for a little bit, and I sold Cutco. I don't know if you ever heard of Cutco before. I did that for about a year and a half, so the knives and cutlery and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I was just hopping around, kind of just like where was life going to take me? And I ran across a door-to-door sales opportunity for pest control. I did that for 2 years. One segment was about 5 or 6 months in Denver, and then one was about 5 or 6 months in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
And when I was in Denver, my first year doing it, somehow I got connected with this guy named Jeff Haskins, who works at the corporate office. And he called me and we started talking. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why don't you get in real estate? I was like, nah, I don't want to be a realtor. My dad's a realtor. I'm out here doing door-to-door sales. And he's like, no, I got something different, than being a realtor. Like, just hear me out and try this thing out. And I said, okay, well, I'm an opportunist. So I was like, all right, I'll hear you out. Sure, why not? And I heard him out a little bit, and I said, okay, well, there's like an initial training you pay like $300 or $400 for. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'll pay $300 or $400 and see what this is. knowing well that maybe I just got scammed. And I didn't really do anything with it. I came back home and, I was like, hey, no, I really haven't done anything with this. I was like, they're in Jacksonville, Florida. They do in person, like for this like little training session. I was like, why? Sure. I was like, why don't I go down there and check it out? I said, worst case scenario, I have fun in Jacksonville, Florida. I said, so, I kind of went down there on a whim. And and then I found out, I was like, wow, this is like a legit opportunity. This business is legit. They're really growing something here. They've got the right foundation, the right people in place to kind of scale the business up from. So I was immediately intrigued, because I want the freedom to do what I want, but I also love to be a part of a team and be a part of like a company that can grow. And so that's why I really think I was attracted to Little Pink Houses for all those reasons.
What were some of the things that attracted you there, Austin? What was it about the company or the culture or the brand? Like what was it that jumped out at you and you said, hey, this is where my time and energy is going to go?
So one thing which I think is important in all business is trying to find like a niche, right? Like how am I going to add value and serve the customer, right? And when I looked at it and I really started doing my research, I was like, wow, there's a really great need for what we're offering. I said, there's a lot of people that they get turned down. They don't know how to get qualified because they're just in a weird situation. And banks, they're not in the business to help you sit down and figure it out. They're like, hey, are you ready now? Great, I'll give you the money. If not, all right, well, come back to me when you do. Right. And for a lot of people, they're just they get stuck in a cycle of renting and they don't know where to go. So I found, I was like, wow, okay, so this is something cool. We get to really help people, so that feel good, like, okay, I'm actually doing something that helps families out, right? Become a homeowner, and then just a real niche need that we're fulfilling. And then like I said, I like the culture, the brand. Little Pink Houses, it's bold pink, it's in your face. I'm like, I like the brand, I like the culture. And the seasoned kind of veterans that are behind, the company, our CEO and our other officers, advisors, or just the experience they bring is just really unmatched. And I was like, I think this company really has an opportunity to really grow, and it has. I've been a part of it for this December will be 3 years officially.
Awesome.
I didn't do anything with it really the first year. I didn't really make any money, making poor decisions. So I've been full-time in it for about 2 years. But when I bought in, there was probably about 22 other like affiliate / franchisees.
Yep.
And now there's 110.
Oh, wow. That's a lot
so
of
people. It's been growing like wildfire, and I think by the end of next year, we're estimating 150 to 175, So it's really growing. I love it. I love the energy behind it. And I like the company has that very laid back, like, hey, you can be you. And that's what I like. I don't want to have to like fit in a little box and operate a certain way. I want to be able to be me and express myself. And that's it's a very open, very relaxed environment. So that's why I think I was attracted to it for those reasons as well.
Sure. So it sounds like that, they give you the tools and the processes that you need to get going and be successful, but they also give you the freedom to kind of put your own personality and process and things on it as you see fit, right? So that's great, man. Mm-hmm. What does your dad think about it?
What does he think about it now, or what did he think about it?
What did he think when you told him what you were going to do?
So initially, my dad, obviously, he's entrepreneurial as well. So he initially, he was hesitant. I was 22 years old. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? I don't know, like, is this the right move? But he was a little bit more open to hearing about it, obviously familiar with real estate. My mom, very type A, she's like, hey, you need to go to school, you need to work at the same company for 45 years. She's very that corporate mindset. So she was like very against what I was doing at first, but I told her, I was like, hey, I'm serious about this, and this is the lifestyle I want to be able to, to make it and to really just work hard and make make my own journey, kind of lay my own path. I don't want to just sit down and kind of be a pencil pusher, and that's not me. So they were hesitant, but my dad was instrumental in the beginning, because when I was negotiating with the company, him and his former girlfriend, she used to be like a paralegal at the corporate level, so we kind of like broke down and negotiated the agreement with them to kind of make it more favorable on my end with them. So that was helpful, and he's been supportive. I mean, he's let me use his office in here, and that's been great, and obviously have him kind of in my corner. So I would say, it's been, it was good in the beginning, and now it's great, because now we lean on each other. He comes to me, he's like, hey, I have this house, this deal, what do you think about it? And then I have a situation like, hey, what do you think about the situation? What do you think I should do? So it's really a give and take relationship. So it's been great. My mom, it's good now. Like I said, at first she was really hard pressed against it, and she was like, I don't know, Austin. But now it was kind of like eat crow, right? So I had to force her to eat crow by proving her wrong by working hard. And eventually she's like, you know what, Austin, I'm sorry, you're right. You proved me wrong. You're successful in this business now. You're making money, and I was wrong. I was like, I'm sorry that I was so against you, like taking these steps. And I said, hey, it's okay.
Sure.
No worries.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time I'm ever going to get my mom to admit that she was wrong, though.
That's good. It's for a good reason. I think parents, especially now, want their kids to have something secure and be stable. And she probably was just a little worried about you on that. But it sounds like you found a really cool opportunity with being in the same building with your dad, where you're almost able to work with them without having to work for him, and that's a unique position to be in, man. So that's awesome. Congratulations. It's really neat. I want to go back a little bit, Austin. You mentioned when you were telling me kind of your path to how you got there. You went to college, decided that wasn't for you, and kind of bounced around, and it sounded like that you were searching for your opportunity, but you're also very assertive about it. Like, if you saw something you wanted to try, as you said, being opportunistic, how much do you think that played into where you actually ended up and the opportunity you actually found, where, a lot of guys, especially, guys and girls your age are, sitting around waiting for something to come to them and wondering why it doesn't, right? So, like, what's your thoughts on kind of what happened to you there, and do you think that played a big part of why you are where you are now?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it played a huge part. And I had to learn a lot of that, as I kind of grew, and I tried things and I failed and I got back up, and kind of that perseverance, and that's what it's all about, not to sound cliche or corny, but it's really like, I learned so much from my failures, and that's what really helped me out. Like I was okay in door-to-door sales. I was okay in presentation sales for knives and other stuff. But what that's really done is really helped me really excel in my business now. Like it's helped me excel when I'm sitting down in front of people talking about working with me in their home. It's helped me with making phone calls. It's helped me training my sales guys, which I typically do in house. So yeah, I think it's been everything. Yeah, I think I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it because even though I struggled a lot of different times, and obviously didn't have my family in my back corner with what I was doing a lot of times, a lot of doubt and not a lot of support, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was worth it. So
absolutely,
yeah,
that's awesome. You mentioned the past experiences and some of the things that you may call failures, or really were just learning experiences to get you to this next step, and your failures now will be the learning opportunities for wherever you go forward. But when you kind of got into the business, being so young, what were the things that you were surprised that you were really good at, and what were some of the things that kind of stuck out that surprised you that you weren't so good at?
Well, I had a kind of a delusion at first of like how much work you really need to put in to really drive your business. I was at first I brought in a partner to work with me, and I was going to give him part ownership of the business and said, hey, kind of like oversee this and kind of do this, and I'll work with you. And I was still in door-to-door sales. I was still working, doing some political stuff, and I came back. We didn't make any money, and it was a complete disaster. And I said, I have to be the driving force. I can't expect anybody to work harder than I will. If I want the people that are working for me to work hard, I got to outwork them. I got to work harder than they do. And that's what I kind of realized, and that's when I started actually getting some money, doing some and doing deals, and making the business work. Is I sat down and said, okay, every day I'm sitting down here, I'm making phone calls, and for hours on end, like I'm doing what it takes. If they're 4 hours away, I'll drive there. If I got to meet them at midnight, I did. If I had to drive there and show up at 6 a.m., that's fine. I'll do it. It's kind of like not giving myself an excuse. Like find every reason to make it work. Is kind of what I learned, and that's what I think is helped me tremendously in the business so far, and it's helping me to this day. Yeah. Sure.
What are the things that you still need to improve on? What are the areas where you're spending your time on personal development to be a better business owner?
So definitely bookkeeping. I'm horrible at it. I'm atrocious at it. I've turned in my taxes last minute the last couple years, and it's kind of a mess. And I have this year has been the wake up call for me for 2020 taxes. I was like, I really need to put a bookkeeping system in place. I need to invest that time and money into it to really maximize what I'm doing and making sure that all my ducks are in a row. Like, am I overspending and not even realizing it because my bookkeeping is so shoddy? That's an important thing, because obviously that can affect the bottom line. So I'd say that, and some organization things. Organization is not. I'm not going to say it's not. It's something I definitely struggle with. So I'd say kind of having good procedures to stay on top of my organization, and then I'd say bookkeeping. I'd say those are my two biggest things that I'm trying to kind of move forward with right now in my game plan, and not be afraid to pay people to good money to stay in your business. And I think sometimes you get so caught up in your bottom line. It's like, well, I'm going to pay them. Try to kind of skimp the dollar, and I realize, if you pay people more money, you give them more responsibilities. Sometimes they surprise you. They can really help you excel, and you end up making more money by you paying them more money than you were, when you were trying to skimp them, to do a couple things and try to put everything on my back. It's okay to put other things out there. Give other responsibilities to people. You don't have to put it all on your shoulders. And so I would say those are some of the things I'm working on. I've kind of had that epiphany, and I'm working on. I'm still actively working on it. So don't ask me to turn it into you right now. But that's what I'm working on.
That's good. Those are all things that I think we've all struggled with, at least at some point, and still do. It's good that you recognize it now. Again, being so young and early in your career, if you figure it out, in the next couple of years, you're going to be light years ahead of most of us. So that's awesome, man. What do you do, to develop yourself outside of just focusing on those things? Do you listen to podcasts, read books? What are you doing to spend, where are you investing time to improve yourself and improve your business right now?
Sure. So if you're just talking about self, then I'm I'm a Christian guy. I'm a firm believer in it, and obviously, not, no hate towards anyone if they don't. That's on you. But that's been a real kind of a foundation or rock in my life the last few years. So that's key for me. Really just an outlet, to kind of something bigger than myself to really rely on, and a community to be a part of just good people that care about me. And I think that really helps me out as a person in general. And then the gym, love working out. I think when I work out, obviously there's the physical benefits, but I mean, mentally I'm more sharp. And I definitely, it allows me to de-stress. So the gym, I think, is key. And then I'd say on a personal note, I mean, I like to be kind of a nerd. I love to read reports on my business. Like, hey, what's going on in the housing market? Hey, what's going on in the stock market? Like reading articles, watching some videos on YouTube. Yeah, I'm never too stubborn to say, hey, you know what? I don't need to hear any more information. I'm good. I've got it all here. Austin's good. No, I'm always open to hearing you out. And, sometimes, obviously, when you are like that, you might run into some junk. Not everything is worth something real with a lot of value. But yeah, I'm always, like I said, I'm always willing to hear people out. So, I always, whether it's I hear people out on different business ideas or what they're doing in the real estate industry or business in general, I'm always willing to hear you out and try to network and, circulate to percolate is what I like to call it. That's what my CEO likes to say. So yeah, I'd say a little bit of everything. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. Austin, a couple questions more on the business side. What are the things that you feel like your franchisor does really well, and what are the things that you feel like there's still room for improvement there?
Sure. So things that I think they do really well is they have, like I said, a great business model. I think they have a great system in place. The tools, the training, it really sets you up for success. I feel like, not 100%, but I feel that the other affiliate franchisees in our company, if you're not successful, I feel like you're probably not fully taking advantage of all the tools, the coaches, the training, the scripts that they put in front of you. So I feel that they try to set you up for success. I really do, especially initially out of the gate. Where I think they fall short, and where I'm actively, like, I don't officially work for corporate, but I kind of am like a surrogate for the corporate entity as well, just because I love to see the company succeed and ultimately helps me, is that we fall short on the follow through of the systems. Like, the business concept is great. The foundation, the right people are great. The logos, the training systems, the coaches, great. But when we're getting through the nitty gritty and we have deals going on, it can be a little bit hectic. And I know, we need lending partners that will work within our business model. And for the longest time, we only had one. And I think that was detrimental to our business. And I've been working with one of my coaches, senior advisor to our company, to find other people. So we have, I think, 3 other companies lined up that we're getting them ready to rock and roll. And that will be great. And then we have a new credit rebuilding company that we're bringing in. So I think that will be great for our clients, the buyers that are working with us. I think that'll be great for our affiliate franchisees. So they're not, our business, isn't just solely relying on one person, because they get sick. What happens? You're at a standstill. That's just not good business. And then I would say corporate support. And it's obviously, just like anybody, I'm sure especially during COVID times, it's hard to find good people, right? You hear everyone say that, especially right now. It's hard to find and hire good people. And I think that they've had troubles at sometimes finding more support staff, whether it's virtual assistants, whether it's just people in the office, but they need people to that can handle some of these little nitty-gritty, little basic things with affiliates and maybe some of the clients that they have deals going on with. So that I would say has probably been the biggest detriment, is that they're stretched a little too thin for the growth that they've had. But other than that, I mean, I couldn't ask for greater people to be with. They're a family. I don't look at them just as a business relationship. I mean, they're family, and they've been here for the thick and thin with me. So I couldn't ask for a better company and environment to work in. It fits me perfectly. So
that's great, man. Last question here. Who is your target customer or customers, and what are you going to be focused on in 2022 to try to grow that customer base?
Sure. So that's a good question. So obviously, our target consumer, I would say, I mean, if you're sticking with our principal business model, I mean, it's a seller that they have flexibility in selling. They don't need all their cash right now. Maybe they're in a bad situation. They can't afford to sell it traditionally because their house is underwater, they're behind on payments, whatever. We are that kind of creative solution where we can come in, help you out, and kind of help you maximize your dollar, help you potentially save your home and still let you make some money on it. And then obviously buyers that are self-employed, identity theft, divorce, bankruptcy. Those are in our main business model, those are our niche people, right? People that have flexibility on the seller side, people that need help on the buyer side. But other than that, I mean, we work with sellers that, they have a house, they just want to sell it traditionally, and they just don't want to deal with a realtor. So we obviously can't, but they don't want to deal with the main program. So we still will help them sell the house. We still try to help them limit cost, and we kind of, take away the realtor, 50 pages that you have to sign and all this. I mean, we keep it really simple, and they can cancel on us at any time for either whether they sell it through the program or through traditionally. We say, hey, we're not here to hold you hostage. We want to make you feel that you're working with us and we bring value to you. If you're not, and you feel that we're obstructing you or holding you back, cancel us. Cancel on us, and there's no fee, no penalty. We're not going to take you to court. Really easy. We keep it simple. And then our company, I know with the market being crazy, obviously the last 2 years, real estate market, and my personal opinion and a lot of the other real estate professionals I've spoken to think that there's certainly a bubble coming up, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities, and obviously in that industry. So where our company is really gearing up with partners and with other sources of capital to really start gearing up on buying houses ourselves. To do some fix and flips, probably just resell them, and then also buy the properties and sell them through our program. So that way we can help even more people become homeowners by cutting out the waiting period of just trying to find sellers that are willing to work with us. So I'd say it's a little bit all over the place. I think we're very opportunists, just like I am. So if the opportunity comes, we'll look at it. Doesn't mean we'll take every single one, but we're willing to look at all opportunities and see if it makes sense for us to tackle it. So really excited for the next year. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the real estate industry for next year.
Awesome. Well, Austin, thanks so much for taking a few minutes of your time and sharing your story, visiting with us, telling us about your business. I'm excited to see the success you have in the coming years. You're in an awesome spot, man, to be at such a young age and to kind of have the wisdom and the experience from both the success and failures that you had. So congratulations on that. And you should be proud of yourself. I'm sure your mom and dad, even though they maybe gave you a hard time early on, they're probably pretty proud of you as well. So congratulations on that, man. And for everyone who's taken a few minutes to listen to Austin's story with us, we appreciate you listening in to the Social Zee Franchise Happy Hour, and we'll catch you on the next episode.